Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Moshini.
Give me a few minutes to introduce about yourself to the learners, sir.
Sure.
Good evening, all. Today, resource person is Mr. Pradeep Karunathilaka. He has 10 years of experience since 2012 as a container terminal planner, terminal duty officer, and berth planner. Currently work as a chief superintendent operations in Jaya Container Terminal, Sri Lanka Port Authority. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. Over to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Thanks for the introduction, Noshadi. Good evening to you all. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
So, good evening.
Good evening. Hi. I think around 60 batchmates with you, right? Total batch 60?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great. How many are there? I think around 19. Okay. So we can start the lecture anyway, and anyway you have a recording, right? So just to begin with the lecture, let's spend a couple of minutes just to introduce yourself, right? So myself introduced by our coordinator. And as I said, I work for the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, specialized in container terminal operation. Just tell me your name and where are you working to get some kind of background, because we will do around 5 lectures together. So I just need to have some kind of idea about your background. So where are you from and where are you working and just your name. Okay, can someone start?
Good evening.
Yeah,
I am Kasun Daranja. I am from National Insurance Trust Fund. I am doing procurement in the National Insurance Trust Fund. I am procurement officer in National Insurance Trust Fund.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I'm Karunathilaka. I work for Deloitte, Sri Lanka. I'm a director, and then I specialized in finance transformation, and then now I'm into procurement transformation as well.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Vikas.
I'm Vikas Tajuddin. I'm working as a quantity surveyor. Currently, I'm in Saudi Arabia.
Great, thanks.
I'm Chaturata. I'm maintenance and project engineer in Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening, sir. It's me, Sharangi.
Good evening.
Yes, I attached University of Vavuniya as assistant lecturer.
Yeah.
University of Vavuniya.
Oh.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening.
I am Upali Vasantha. I am working Milko Private Limited, stores manager.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dinesh here. I'm a senior contract engineer in a consultancy firm in Oman, Ibn Khaldun Consultancy. So working as a contract engineer.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good evening, sir. I am Tarini, working as quantity surveyor at National Water Supply and Drainage Board.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I am Kirubagaran. I am working as a accountant, DC Secretary at Jaffna.
Thanks.
Good evening, sir. I'm Shiat, working at Royal Ceramics as a showroom manager.
Thanks, Shiat.
Good evening, sir. I'm Lasant Aliyanagi, working as a medical administrator. I'm looking after base hospital Putlam and base hospital Lalmadu.
Thank you, Lasant.
Good evening, sir. My name is Adil, and I work for Pune Elevators, Qatar, as a project manager.
Thanks, Adil.
Good evening, sir. I'm Udani. I'm a project architect at Urban Development Authority.
Thanks.
Good evening, sir. I'm Situmini Kamage. I am working from home for an Australian switchboard manufacturing company. I'm working as purchaser and administrator to that company.
Great, thanks. Okay, I think I will introduce, right? Available students. Yes. Anyone else? Right. Under the logistics and transportation, I think you already completed one lecture, right?
Yes,
You
sir.
completed one lecture. Okay, great. Right. So in that lecture, I think you get some kind of idea what we call as a logistics and what we call as the supply chain management. Right. So here we will specifically focus on the logistics aspects and the transportation. Right. So some of you are familiar with these words: logistics, supply chain management, and the transportation. Right. So most of you, I noticed that working in the areas of the procurement, because this is the procurement master degree, and especially when you are doing the procurement master degree, you need to have some kind of idea about the logistics and what we call as supply chain management, because procurement considered as one of the critical element comes under logistics, and logistics comes under supply chain management. So you need to know about how these areas interconnected each other, right? So we will discuss especially by focusing on logistics and transportation. So I will cover the area of the transportation and some areas related to the transportation, that with respect to the documentation and the operation processes, this kind of things, right? To begin with, most crucial component of this area, logistics. Can someone say that which area? I'm asking which whatever the area, right? Business or whatever the area, from which area this logistics technique originated? Now, everywhere you are discussing about the logistics, right? That's the origin of this logistics. Is there any specific operations? Of course, it's not business, right? So later they apply this logistic concept and logistics techniques in the business field. But in which field is it originated earlier at the initial stage?
Farming.
Sorry?
Farming, agriculture field.
Some extent, but the thing is that logistics originated in the area of the military, right? So that in military they have to plan, that supply, each and every supply they have to plan in the military. When they are doing some kind of mission, they have to plan for the food arrangement, they have to plan for the drop arrangements, and also the arm guards, everything they have to arrange. And for that purpose, they develop some kind of, that engineering analytical framework. We call it as a logistics. Actually, this logistics comes under engineering subject. Most probably, currently it's, that even in the university, it's teach under the civil engineering as a civil engineering subject, right? Just to give some kind of background, right? Later, the business people, they realize that's the importance of the logistics, and they apply the same concepts in the business field, right? So in this lecture, we will discuss about these areas. These are the actually course outline, objectives of this particular lecture. What we call as a globalization and logistics. How globalization make an impact on the logistics, right? And the domestic and international terminal. What we call as a domestic terminal, what we call as an international terminal, and specifically, I will highlight it here. What is the terminal? Right? Maybe you know about this word, maybe you heard about this word, terminal, but I will teach you how much it's important in this logistics platform. The word is terminal, right? This is the specific facility. And we will discuss about the cross-border transactions, what we call as a cross-border transaction, especially the export and import transactions, right? There's a comprehensive process involved in this export and import processes, right? So we'll discuss about that part, including the Incoterms kind of areas. and also the method of payments. These are the areas we are going to cover in this particular lecture. And I'll start usually when I'm doing a lecture regarding the supply chain management or the logistics, right? So I need to clarify this first, this question, right? Without clarifying, we cannot move on, right? Because some students, I feel that they are confusing with these words. Some don't know about what is supply chain management and what is logistics, right? So we need to have some kind of idea about and how to differentiate these each and every area in this particular subject, right? Two words are there, supply chain management and logistics, right? I just asked from you about which area you are working, because I need to have some kind of idea about whether you are working in the logistics or whether you are working related to the supply chain management, right? Some of you are working related to the supply chain management, some of you are working related to the logistics, but you cover one particular part, right? So even we are in the engineering field, even we are in the medical field, you need to have some kind of idea what we call as a supply chain management. It's very, very important, because without supply chain management and without logistics, you cannot run any type of industry. So such an important area. So that's why we have to learn about the supply chain management and logistics. Even if you work as a in the medical, as I said, medical field or engineering field or the lecturing field, whatever the field, this is most important, right? You did already one lecture. So what is the difference between these two words, supply chain management and the logistics? Anyone can try for this question? I'm not expecting the comprehensive or correct 100% correct answer, but just try to answer for this question. What is the difference between these two areas? Is these two areas similar, or are there any difference between these two areas?
Supply chain come under the logistic, I think.
Supply chain comes under logistics. Okay, great. Any try?
Supply chain is the entire network, and logistic is delivery the goods right placed on right time.
There's a link, right? You mean there's a link between supply chain management and logistics, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Any other answer? I'll give one chance.
Supply chain is the overall process and logistic is the part of the supply chain.
Yes. Correct, right? Supply chain you can identify as an overall process, and logistics comes under supply chain management. We can identify logistics as a subset of the supply chain management, right? Theoretically, I can say that, yeah, correct answer. Keep in mind that, right, when we're discussing about the logistics, right, I will explain what is logistics first. Under logistics, you consider transportation, right? That's what we are going to learn under this topic. Transportation, you know, everywhere you have a transportation for the passengers transportation, and also you have a transportation mode for the freight transportation. Freight means cargo transportation, right? Two areas, right? Transportation. And you have the warehousing, right? Some of you are working related to the warehousing, right? Warehouse for manage your inventories. That means manage your product, right? That's one particular area. Some of you are working for the procurement area, right? Most of you, I noted that, work for the procurement area. Transportation, warehousing, and procurement, right? Basically, procurement means you are dealing with the suppliers, right? To manage raw material, inbound raw materials, and whatever the things, right? I mentioned about the three main areas, right? If you consider this area separately, if you are working only for the transportation, some of you may be working only for the warehousing area, some of you are working for the procurement, right? We call it as a logistics, right? So you are responsible for the movements of the particular goods, right? As you said, the right time, right quantity, right? Right? If you are responsible for the movement of the goods, and you have to take care about these particular areas, transportation, warehousing, procurement, or value addition, we call it as a logistics, right? but only you consider about the one particular area, right? That means if you are managing a transportation company, it's not supply chain management, it's logistics. If you are work for the warehousing company, right? They are providing warehousing services, it's only logistics. It's not a supply chain management. But is there any company who oversee these all the activities and interconnected each and every activities in this particular process? Let me explain with very simple example, right? In this slide, you can see a tea leaf is my left side corner, and you can see the tea cup, right?
Are you sharing something?
Sorry, I missed that.
We can't see.
Can you see? Can you see now? Great. You can see now, right?
Yes, sir. Now it is visible, but we don't have this presentation.
I sent this today morning, I think.
Yeah, if you can put it to chat box, we can download it.
Okay, I'll put it in chat box, no problem. Right? Anyone check in this, what I called, you have a system, right?
Yes, we have LMS.
Anyone check that? I think they already uploaded that.
No, I checked, sir.
It's already uploaded.
Sorry?
It's already uploaded.
Already uploaded, no?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's good. Just check that. Anyway, I will.
No, sir, I checked just at about 7.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, I shared with the chat box, right? I already shared with the chat box. You can have from there as well, right? I think you can even download from the chat box, right? That's better. Right. Right. Now you can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Right. You can see simply I just put the two particular steps of the tea supply chain, right? I explained about the logistics, right? If you are consider individually transportation, warehousing, value addition, procurement, right? We call it as a logistics, right? Just you're focusing on the flow of the particular product, the physical product, right? What we call as supply chain management, you oversee all the each and every these logistics activities, and you are trying to connect those activities by using the information and also by using some kind of physical infrastructures, right? Just you oversee the all activities. Especially if I discuss about some particular example from the tea, how you produce the tea. It's originate from the tea plantation, right? Then goes to the tea factory, and you are doing the manufacturing activities there, and then goes to the value addition center for the packaging and adding some kind of flavors, right? Then you are sending to the distribution warehouse, and after that you are sending to the supermarket, and from supermarket, consumers buy that particular product, right? You can see some kind of particular chain is there, right? Interconnected chain, right? That particular chain, and if your organization or if someone is going to manage that particular chain, we call it as a supply chain management, right? This is supply chain management, right? And let's say including inside this particular supply chain, they have a particular warehouse for store that particular tea, right? You manufacture tea, maybe in the bulk form or maybe in the boxes or whatever they have. That particular warehouse operation we identify as a logistics operation. Right? Even here, you can see different transportation modes are there. From tea plantation to the factory, you have to know the transportation, right? Factory to the, what I call the value addition warehouse, you have to know the transportation arrangement. Then value addition warehouse to the distribution warehouse, transportation element is there. And sometimes if you are exporting this tea from distribution warehouse, maybe you load the tea inside the container, and you truck the container to the port, seaport, and you are loading on the ship, and ship goes to the another port, maybe to the Iran or Russia. That part also we consider as a transportation, Right? You can see the transportation involvement. That transportation part we identify as a logistics operation. Right? You get any kind of idea about what I'm saying? In practical application, how you differentiate this logistics and supply chain management? You're clear? Or do I need to explain again? Are you clear what I said? Anyone has any question on that? Since this is actually the online, we are doing the online platform, just to have some kind of discussion, right? It's better to have some kind of discussion. So you work in the industry, I also work in the industry, so we need to share our what I call the experience and also the views, right? So and question, you have to ask the questions. That's how you can manage this lecture. So it's better, I think, because this is a master lecture, so the two-way
Could you
communication.
please explain logistics again, sir?
Yeah. Sorry?
Only the logistics part. Can you explain again?
Yes. Let's say, what's your name?
Ashok.
Ashok, right. Let's say, Ashok, you work for the warehousing company, right? Your company manage the warehouse on behalf of your customers. Right? Got it?
Yeah.
That means you are not doing the supply chain management. That means you are doing the logistics business.
Noted. Okay.
Only warehousing. That's logistics.
Noted, sir. Noted. Thank you.
Right? But if your organization manage everything, let's say tea, from plantation to until exporting to the Russian buyer, let's say you are managing everything. That means supply chain management. You can see it's a broad area, right? It's a very broad area.
Clear. Thank you.
Right. I'll show you, I'll begin with this with some well-known organized company, right? This is yeah, we can ask.
Yes, for logistic, is it only storage, or if there isn't any specific category or something, right? It's because logistic is something part of that supply chain. So
Correct.
is it having any category, only storage or something like not like that, right?
You are saying that logistics, are there any different types of logistics?
Yeah. No,
exactly. Right? Yes. When you discuss about the logistics, there are different types. I can say that apparel logistics, right? Tea logistics, pharmaceutical logistics, right? Even the timber logistics, fruit logistics.
Okay, sir. Okay.
They have a logistics, they differentiate based on the product and the contract logistics. Like that.
So logistic can come in any stage of supply chain, right?
Exactly. Any stage you can find the logistics, right? Supply chain, actually the combination of the logistics activities.
Okay, sir. Yeah,
right?
noted.
When you discuss about the supply chain. Yeah, Dinesh.
No, she's going to ask something, so I will ask next question.
Oh, okay. Ladies first.
Yes.
Yeah, I got the point, sir. Yeah, I just want to know whether it is coming anywhere in the supply chain and just having any specific logistic types or something that we can identify this part of thing is this logistic or something like that.
Dinesh, yes.
So what is you said that contract logistic? What is that one? Meant that one. You said some contract logistic.
Contract
Can you
logistics,
give some
like, yeah, I'll explain.
Example.
It's like this. Yes, very good question. Thank you. Contract logistics means, let's say you are going to do some kind of event, international level event, right? Maybe sport event or something, right? So we will discuss these things later, even the later stages. If you are planning for some kind of, let's say Olympic, right? What they're doing in the Olympics, you know that they are wearing some kind of particular t-shirts, and you know that there's a sport dresses, right? They have that arrangement as well. They are wearing some particular dresses, no? Even the shoes particular for that particular event, no? Correct? You got it?
Oh, okay, sir. That is
Particular
some kind of promotion way. It is not a
yeah,
promotion. Some kind of.
Yes, it can be promotion. Okay, forget about the t-shirts or kind of thing. Food. For each and every person who participate to that events, they have to provide foods. The food arrangement should be there. So what logistics, that organizing committee, what they are doing some kind of contract logistics activity here. They provide that, I can say that they outsource that food supply contract to the logistics company, right? To the logistics company. I can say that, let's say DHL, they outsource that particular part to the DHL. Right? It's a contract. So they have to supply foods to the Olympic events. Maybe they continue that particular event for the 1 month. For the 1 month period, they have to fulfill the requirements. It's contract basis. So in that part, we call it as a contract logistics. Right?
Okay,
Whatever.
sir. Thank you.
Right. Even the dressers, they may outsource to some particular party to supply on time with right quality, right quantity, everything. Yeah, it's contract, right? So that is mean the contract. It's yeah.
Regarding this example that you say that Olympic Committee get the service from DHL for the foods, right? Then DHL has to get that service from another company. Is that correct? Because DHL I don't know whether DHL are engaging in the food industry also.
No. That's what I want to highlight. DHL, they are not producing the particular foods, right? They are not. Yeah, they only cover the transportation part and the warehousing part, right? That particular Olympic committee, they contact the food suppliers. They contact food supply. They have food supply. But what they are doing, only the transportation part and the warehousing part only handle that particular 2 areas. They outsource that particular activity to DHL. You got my point?
Yeah, but say that delivering foods to the location, is it not the responsibility of that food supply organization, food company?
The thing is that such a big event, how they individually can do that, right? So maybe you have 1,000 food suppliers, right? That's the thing we are going to learn here, right? In such a situation, when you have handling the global level shipments, most probably what companies are doing, they outsource these activities to the logistics companies. There are multinational level logistics companies like DHL, right? So this normally happen. In these kind of events, it's not about the food supplying company. They are not handling the transportation or warehousing part. They are not specialized in these areas. What they are doing, they are outsourcing these activities to these kind of specialized people. That's why we are discussing about the logistics field, right? That's why there's a logistics requirement for the logistics. Let's say that they have to manage the refrigerated warehouses and they have to manage the transportation with, that temperature control transportation for some specific foods. So how those things managed by these food supply companies? They only manufacture the foods, right? They only produce the foods, right? That's the whole area. They are not much focused on the logistics activities. But these companies, DHL, UPS, FedEx, they are focusing on this transportation and warehousing arrangement. That's how the business is going, right? You got it, what I said?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'll give one example. Let's say we are exporting tea, right? We have plenty of Dilma, we have Lipton, lot of brands we have. They are manufacturing tea. Do they have a transportation arm to transport this tea to Iran or Russia? They are producing tea. Do these Dilma has own ships to transport those to the Russia or Iran?
Yes, sir.
No, they don't have.
They don't have. What they are doing, they outsource that part to the logistics companies. There are plenty of shipping lines. they can do that on behalf of these manufacturers. They are doing that part. It's a contract. That's how things are happening. Right. So a lot of things you have to learn, right? A lot of things. There are plenty of things, right? That's how the supply chain is. There are plenty of, plenty of examples I can bring to you. And I'll give as much as I can. Right. So that's why I said even this is actually like ocean. It's a very big area. Day to day, it's changing. And it's affecting your particular job areas as well. Right. I just wanted to show you that this is DHL website. You can see that how they market themselves. So they market themselves as a DHL supply chain, right? You can see here. And also what they market in down, right? So right, you can see here 1,300 warehouse locations all around the world, 1,300 warehouse location, and 39 million square meters of storage area in that warehouses, 39 million square meters warehouse space, right? That means I told you warehousing means only one particular part of the logistics, one particular part of the logistics. And also DHL, when we discuss about DHL, they have aircraft, they have trucks. Even in Sri Lanka, you can see there are small vehicles are there, right? Right. That's about the transportation part. So they are managing transportation part as well. Right. You can see the logistics activities. But now DHL, they are managing the supply chains as well. Let's say you work for the Dilma, right? If you don't have a capacity to manage your supply chain from the plantation to the final product to the teacup, right? So you can outsource that activity to DHL. So DHL will be take care everything in your supply chain. So they have that capacity as well. This is one example, right? Some of you may take some kind of services from the DHL, maybe for the courier, right? Most probably you know DHL as a courier company, right? Am I correct? Most of you know DHL as a courier company.
Yes, we are using it mostly.
Yes, it's not only the courier company, right? Courier is one particular part only, right? DHL actually, they have a very big component in the supply chain management. It's very big. Courier is just one particular part. The Sri Lankan agent for the courier company is John Keels. That's how they manage that part. But DHL is a multinational organization. I can say that it's like world number 1 or 2 logistics company. Anyway, right, that's one example. And I will show you another example. This is another one. Maersk. Anyone heard about this Maersk? Anyone know about this brand, the Maersk?
Yes, sir, we have seen their containers on the road.
On the road, right? This blue color container, beautiful blue color container, exactly. This is the shipping line.
Apparel
Sorry?
Mostly apparel they are doing, no? Apparel,
yeah, one particular product. Apparel, transportation, right? It's a transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly you can send the apparel or whatever the product to Maersk line, right? If you have some particular product, right? If you need to transport that particular product from Sri Lanka to New York or Middle East or Europe or somewhere, you can use this line. This is a shipping line. They are well known as a shipping line, but they are in the supply chain management business, right? So they are providing transportation services to you, and they will provide the warehousing services to you, right? So that's how they manage their business. And if you need to transport apparel container, let's say, you can call to the Maersk line and you can get that service from them. Right? Either transportation, either storage in the warehouses, or documentation process of the export and import, whatever the things, whatever the service you require, they will provide. That's why they market themselves as a logistics service. You can see they are providing the logistics service to you, right? Anytime you can call the DHL or Maersk line. This is just one example, right? DHL is one example. Maersk line is one example. You can see millions of companies are there. You can get this kind of service. That's how this industry is going on, right? It's a multi-billion business. Day to day, they are operating 24/7, 365, right? This is another example, right? To keep in mind that the Maersk line. We will discuss about more examples later, right? Just to explain you what is the difference between this logistics and supply chain management. Right. Just when someone asks again, just not much focus on the theoretical answer as a logistics is a subset of supply chain management. It's not what we expect. Just try to explain in the practical way what's happening in the industry, since you are working in the industry, right? I'll explain a little bit about this logistics, how it evolved with the time, right? As I said, logistics initially they use for the military, just for facilitate these armed forces, especially in it's originate in UK and the Germany in that particular areas. And they develop the logistics engineering to, that make their plans, the food supply plans, the vehicle transportation arrangements, everything they arrange to the logistics. If you can just search and through the Amazon or whatever the website, you can buy some particular logistics related books, right? Those are very important, and there are some kind of mathematical applications, right? I noticed that some 2 or 3 engineers also there, right? So they may know about these areas, because some engineering areas they're teaching this logistics as well, some kind of analytical areas, right? Let's discuss about globalization and logistics, how globalization make an impact on the logistics, right? With globalization, what happens to the logistics, right? Basically, how we define the globalization is it's a movement of people, goods, and services around the world. Very simple. What we call as a globalization, it's a movement of the people, goods, and services around the world. Right? So I agree with me, right? So it's a globalization, right? But how we relate this globalization to the supply chain management, right? How we refer this to the supply chain management, it's about how you do your business in international level, right? If any particular company earlier you manage within your boundary, that means within the Sri Lanka only. But now what happens because of this globalization, you open to the global market. Now you are trying to expand your business in other countries as well. That means you operate your logistics activities and the supply chain related activities in the global scale, right? Let's say one example, right? Apparel, right? Let's say apparel. When you're manufacturing apparel, t-shirts or whatever the product, some of you are working in the procurement industry, right? From which countries you source these raw materials to manufacture that particular apparel brands? From which countries? Is those raw materials available in Sri Lanka, or are you sourcing in different countries? I'm expecting this answer from the procurement related students.
I'm not procurement, sir. It is, sorry.
Yeah, Dinesh.
But it is mostly from India or some other countries. It is not producing in Sri Lanka. Most of cases. Some are here in Sri Lanka, but not everything.
Yes. You have to source from, thank you, right? You have to source from other countries, maybe possibly from the India, right? You are sourcing from the India. That sees globalization. That's globalization, right? You're sourcing from somewhere, right? Let's say Nike, the brand Nike, right? You're sourcing raw material sourcing from one particular area. Nike brand is US brand. The mother company is located in the US, but you're manufacturing that particular product somewhere in the Bangladesh or somewhere in the India or somewhere in the Sri Lanka. You can see how it segregate, right? So how it locate different components. You are doing different in different countries. That's about the globalization, right? That's much it affected the supply chain management. This globalization, it's everywhere, right? Even the education sector, you can see the globalization, the impact of the globalization. It's everywhere in the medicine sector, even in the engineering, right? So impact of the globalization is very much significant. It's too much that level, I mean, right? Right. So what happens with this? Yes, because of this increase, they expand the logistics and supply chain management business all around the world, all around the countries. But other hand, it increased the risk, responsibility, right? Of course, you can see the risk is there because you are dealing with international level standards and multiple partners in different cultures. And also responsibility is increasing. It's not like you are managing in your boundaries. That means in your local level, there's a responsibility, significantly increased responsibility. And also there's a greater potential for reward. Of course, if there's a risk, there's a greater potential for reward. Reward means business, the money. You can earn a lot of revenue, right? Big revenue than you are operating in the local level, if you're operating in the global scale, right? It just, I just need to highlight here. Someone can say that when you're discussing about the globalization and the logistics and the supply chain management, someone can say that, yeah, it's only about the import and export. No, it's not just import and export, right? Of course, we know that when you are exporting, you are dealing with the exporter. As an exporter, you are dealing with the international level partners. When you are importing also, you are dealing with the international level partners. Probably if you are working in the procurement industry, you know that you are dealing with the international level suppliers, right? It's not only, you can say that it's a globalization. Yes, exactly. It's a globalization, but it's just not a globalization. There's a comprehensive area you have to cover under this globalization, right? You have to focus on the new technologies, and also you have to focus on the shifting of the regulations, because you are dealing with the multiple partners in multiple areas in the world. And you have to focus on the new trends, right? Because this is the revolution, right? Day by day, you can see that the trends are introducing to the industry, and following day, it vanished, another trend, right? Now you can see AI trend is there, but we don't know, maybe next year, it can be a different trend, right? You can see e-commerce is there. Currently, it's like in the, it's, you know, that it growing stage. Maybe until it will move until the saturation stage, maybe decline. Maybe you can see after 5 years, there can be a different trend, right? Likewise, trends are changing. And also, when you are doing global scale business with related to logistics or supply chain management, you have to focus on these areas as well, right? It's not only about the export and import, right? Just for your reference, when you discuss about the globalization and logistics, this graph, actually this radar graph developed by the DHL, as I said, you can see this clearly explains logistics trends in the world, right? It's about the logistics trends in the world. In green color, you can see social and business trends are there. And the blue color, you can see technology related trends. Social and business trend, technology related trends, right? If you focus on the social and business trend related to the logistics, effect of the logistics, I'll explain just few of them. One is decarbonization. Anyone has idea about what is decarbonization? Anyone has an idea about what we call as a decarbonization? I can say that it's related to sustainability, right? Decarbonization means you have to reduce the carbon emission, right? So you know that it's world, there's a trend towards the decarbonization. Everyone is discussing about the environmental protection, reduce the greenhouse gas emission, right? CO2 emission, right? Everywhere you are discussing, and logistics, it can identify as a trend. I will teach you that how logistics companies apply practically, how they support for this decarbonization, reduce the emission to the environment and to the society, right? And also you can see cyber security 2.0. It's very, very big trend, right? Cyber security, you know that because they have to protect their systems from the hackers and some kind of malfunctions. And the digital marketplace, can anyone give some kind of example for the digital marketplace? Any platform you're using?
Amazon, AliExpress.
Exactly, the e-commerce platforms, right? Right. And mass personalization is very, very crucial here, because earlier, if you feel that if you need to buy something, you just visited that particular store, whatever the things available, maybe they have different brands, different colors, whatever the things available, you purchase and you come back. But it's not like now, it's not like that, right? It will change even the future. But what you're trying to do now here, if you are buying something from Amazon or one particular e-commerce platform, what you're trying to do, You are trying to personalize that. That means if you're buying the apparel, this color, this material, right? This design, you can just personalize. Because it's customer preference. Right? Even the customer preference, they are changing day by day. Right? That's why it's I can say that the industry is dynamic, right? The customer preferences are dynamic. And some sharing economy, environmental stewardship, right? So these are some kind of social and business related trends. If you focus on the technological aspect here, we can see computer vision, right? More technical areas. And the 3D printing, anyone has idea about what is 3D printing? This is very, very crucial. I think some of you are working in the medical sector, right? You have any kind of experience related to 3D printing? Anyone has any idea? Any experience related to this? Are you working with 3D printing or getting some kind of what I call the service from the 3D printing? No. What is it?
It is even the 3 dimensions of an object.
Yes. That's right. Currently, you are doing the 2D printing, right? The paper printing, but this is the 3D printing. You can print object, especially machinery parts and kind of thing. You can print it, right? It's a technological trend. If you do so, you don't need to have some kind of what I call the manufacturing facility or whatever the things and machinery kind of thing, right? Right. This actually they are doing mostly in countries like in Singapore, China. They are doing this 3D printing. Right. It slightly changed the configuration of the supply chain. And some big data analytics, another one of the most important area, because everyone is dealing with the data, right? You know how much it's important to your day-to-day work. You have to deal with the data. It's very crucial. It's always about database decision, right? You can take the decision in your organization based on your gut feeling, but what I recommend, the decision should be data-based plus your experience. So that's why you have a big data analytics. You are dealing with the big data, jungle of data, and you extract the data and you identify the patterns. Based on that, you are taking the decisions. That is big data analytics. And mobile robotics, right? And the blockchain I will explain later, right? So we have one. I will need to explain. It's like a chain, cloud-based network, right? You can upload the data, you can download the data, and you can see the process, what's happening anywhere. You can share the information with other partners, right? And the drone technology, it's very, very important, right? You can see many examples of the drone technology, use of the drone technologies, right? Most probably countries like Iran or Middle Eastern countries, and also Russia, US, they are using this drone technology for the military, but logistics company, they are using this drone technology for distribution, supply logistics, right? These are some kind of technological trends, right? So both social and business trends, technological related trends comes because of the globalization, right? Trends are there. You can learn about these trends because of the globalization. Without globalization, you may not experience these type of trends, right? So any industry, but when you are if you are working in the different industry than logistics or supply chain management, some of these trends you can experience now. They are already there, right? But logistics, sometimes you have to use 100%, some trends. 100% you have to apply in your operations. That much important. It's very crucial, right? Right. So I will continue this with globalization, right? So most important thing, globalization drives logistics outsourcing. Anyone has a clear idea about this word, outsourcing? What is outsourcing? What we call as outsourcing?
Take services from other parties which is not related to them sometime.
Yes, exactly. Very good. Thanks. You are taking some kind of particular services from third parties, other parties. right? That is outsourcing. Let's say you are going to plan a trip to somewhere else, right? And you are hiring a vehicle, maybe from third party. Can we consider that as a outsourcing? You are planning for a trip and you are hiring a vehicle from third party. Can we consider that as an outsourcing? It's because you are getting
It
some
is.
kind of, yes.
It is, I think, in between that two parties. I mean, we say that the requirement is same that who's going trip, and they are taking this one. It is a direct contract. It is not outsourcing. Am I?
Yes,
It is
if that,
direct
okay,
direct
okay.
contract with that two party. So if we are reaching to some other agency or some other maybe who are doing this trips organization organized team, if we are reaching to them and they are hiring from some other party, it is calling outsourcing. Is it correct? Or
Yeah, I can. Thanks for, right. Very good, right. So what we are trying to do, try to explain. I got that, right. It's like this. If you are planning to hire a vehicle and drive by yourself, I can say that it's not outsourcing, right? Because you are drive by yourself. It's just hire parties there. But if you hire that particular van with the driver and everything, I can describe it as outsourcing. You are getting that service from third party. It's outsourcing. You outsource that transportation arrangement to the third party. He will do everything on behalf of you, driving and everything. Right? That's outsourcing, right? Let's move with the industry, right? I'll just show you, and don't worry, I will explain about the sport and everything, right, later, right? Apparel. Let's take apparel. Even in Sri Lanka, we are very famous for apparel production. Even though some of our business moved to the Bangladesh and India, still we are doing some extent well, right? A lot of international level brands we are manufacturing in Sri Lanka, right? Of course. And mostly for the apparel manufacturing, Bangladesh is popular in the world. If you consider about the apparel manufacturing, I can say Bangladesh, maybe number one, which related to that. Right. First question. Is Bangladesh own these apparel brands? Are they own this apparel brand? Do they own this apparel brand?
No,
No, sir. No.
most of them are international brands.
Most of them are international brands. From which countries? Who owns these brands? Just give me one or two countries.
Europe, Mark Spencer, Old Navy.
Okay, I got some answers from the chat box as well, right? Thanks. Good. Supply the materials only remarks. Okay, great. Bangladesh, they don't have their own brands, right? What they're doing, they are only doing the manufacturing part on behalf of someone, some global scale brand. So give me one or two global scale brands in the apparel. Global level apparel product brands.
Victoria's Secret.
Directly Victoria's Secret, Mark and Spencer. Right. There are plenty of. Right. Okay. These brands are some brands Europeans, handled by the Europeans, owned by the Europeans, some brands owned by the US companies. Right. They are doing the manufacturing here. This is the actual, can you see the map? The satellite map? You can see the satellite map, right? Everyone can see the map, satellite map?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is the satellite image, the current situation of the main port in the Bangladesh, main seaport in the Bangladesh. Right? Bangladesh is the main Varaya port. These green dots are actually ships. These are ships. right? Different ships, because ships we use to transport the cargo. Actually, this port, you can see, if I magnify further, if I zoom in, you can see these are ships. This is the port. Actually, this port is located along the river, very big river. It's not like in Sri Lanka. This is a very big river. Maybe one bank to other bank, just like 1 kilometer, right? These are the ships. You can see multiple ships are inside the port, and they are unloading cargo and they are loading cargo. Can you guess what type of cargo they are loading? Majority of cargo from the Bangladesh. What sort of cargo they are loading on this particular ships? कौन आगे cargo load कर रहे हैं?
Textile.
Apparel related.
Possibly
Textile.
apparel and some kind of electronic items they are manufacturing, right? Just look at what are the main exports from the Bangladesh. It's apparel are there, electronic items, likewise, plenty of things, right? They are loading on the ships, and these ships bring something to the Bangladesh. They are bringing something, no? Of course, they are loading these apparel and finished products and the food items, even food items they are manufacturing there. What they are unloading from these ships, what sort of cargo they are unloading from those ships? Can someone guess that?
Raw materials of apparel industry.
Very good. Raw materials, or not only for the apparel industries, but also for the other export products. Not only apparel, right? But you are correct. And also for the other products, just raw materials. She brings the raw material to the country, they are unloading and loading finished products. And after loading, what they are doing, and you can see how many ships are waiting outside. You see how many ships are waiting outside? Yeah. Right. Until get some kind of vacant slot, they have to wait outside. Sometimes it can be extended, the time duration can be extended 1 week. Such a demand to this particular port, because every product are moving through this port, right? So such an important, you can see this is about the transportation, right? This is logistics, because ships movement, no, the ships handling this part, this is logistics, because so many companies just focus on the apparel industry, as we discussed, Marks & Spencer, Victoria's Secret, whatever the product, whatever the companies, they have outsourced their manufacturing facilities to the Bangladesh because of the globalization, because Bangladesh labor cost is very cheap and they are specialized in apparel manufacturing. Outsource that particular product. Because of that, they have to manufacture that particular apparel in the Bangladesh, and they need to transport those to the markets. So where's the market located? Maybe Middle East, maybe in the Europe, maybe in the US, maybe in the Australia. They are the market, right? So then they have to arrange this product for the transportation. So then for the transportation, they have to get the support from the ships. That means shipping lines. So that's how this arrangement is happening. This again, it's outsourcing. You can see that manufacturing part they outsource, and then transportation part they outsource. And if I discuss about the procurement part here, what you are doing, so then you need to have a raw materials to manufacture these items, this apparel. So you have to source raw materials maybe from India, maybe from the Vietnam, maybe from the Malaysia. You have to bring those raw materials to the Bangladesh. Again, you have to use the ships. That means transportation arrangement is there. That is logistics, right? And you can see after manufacturing, these ships are actually, you can see multiple ships are there, right? So many ships are there. And then from here, by using the ships, you can bring this cargo somewhere to the Colombo, and then you can transport to the Middle East or Europe or US. That's how this arrangement is going on, right? You get some kind of practical idea about what's happening here, just a simple idea. I just want to highlight the outsourcing part, right? How much it's spread all over the world. You got an idea about that? Or not?
Yes, sir. We got.
And another one is most of the manufacturing operations outsourced to the China, right? US companies, even the European companies, they outsource to the China. And it's very massive. Logistics and supply chain management, we cannot even imagine the level of logistics and supply chain management involvement, right? China and European countries, so big scale, right? So, okay, we will just discuss about these things later. And other side, it increase the complexity because you are dealing with the different type of product, different type of raw material. So it increase the complexity. That means as a logistics company, because of this globalization, if you are providing a transportation service, you can see that there are multiple products. Some products are hazardous, that means a dangerous cargo. Some products are pharmaceutical, you need to maintain some kind of temperature, otherwise the product can be damaged. Some products like meat and the cut flour, right? Some products are radioactive. So every product, for each and every product, you need to facilitate. So you can see that how much it complicated, right? So it's increased the complication, right? Very much. Complexity is there. It's not easy, right? So main thing, outsourcing. With globalization, logistics outsourcing evolved as a trend, right? Every company, they try to outsource some sort of operational areas to the third-party companies, right? Manufacturing, right? Manufacturing, we cannot consider as a logistics activity. It's about the operation, management, and engineering. And manufacturing is not a logistics activity, right? Even though it comes under supply chain, it's not a logistics. It's operation management, right? Transportation outsourced to the third-party companies. Warehousing outsourced to the third-party companies, right? So the procurement activity, some part of the procurement activity is also outsourced to the third-party companies, but not all, right? One thing, since some majority of you are working in the procurement area, procurement industry, right? Why procurement is most crucial here? Even some companies, I can say 98% of the companies you didn't outsource this procurement activities to the third-party companies. You are doing it in-house. Why? Because globalization is there. There are plenty of companies you can outsource your procurement activities to third-party companies, but still you are managing, you are dealing with your suppliers. What is the reason?
Reduce the cost of the product.
But if you outsource, of course, it will reduce further, right? Outsourcing, because
no, it is transferring to some others risk. They are valuing that risk, so it is mostly increasing the cost if it is outsourcing.
You say that if you
I mean, most of cases, if we outsource, that mean that they are taking that risk, no? That most of case, and they are taking that some, but in logistic, I mean in the logistic area, I think if we are not outsourcing, if we are going to do by ourselves, it might be a cost increase, because they are doing that bulk transportation by other third party, maybe. We cannot, it is a debatable, I think. We cannot say that it is cost increasing or decreasing.
Thanks, Dinesh. You are trying very much, right? Good answer, right? The thing is that what we are outsourcing to get the cost advantage, Dinesh, right? So even the manufacturing, why they outsource, if we do it in their countries, US or Europe, it's very costly. It's very costly. Maybe 3, 4 times or 5 times higher than the manufacturing in the Bangladesh. Same way, if you outsource the logistics activities, it's very cheap, right? Because this company, DHL, FedEx, right? They are expert in transportation arrangement. They are expert in the warehousing. They are do this operation in the bulk form. Let's say like this. Let's say, okay, it's better to explain to you, right? FedEx. Everyone know about this company, FedEx?
Yes, today also I get a shipment.
Courier, no?
Yeah.
Maybe a gift, right? Okay. Right, FedEx. Let's take one of the aircraft. Let's discuss about the aircraft, right? FedEx aircraft. What sort of product they transport inside one particular aircraft? Is it belong to only one exporter? Are they only transport the cargo belongs to one particular exporter inside one particular aircraft?
No, sir, it is shared containers.
Maybe thousands, right? So they get the orders from different customers and put it to one particular aircraft which belongs to one particular direction, right? They are transporting this. That means they are getting an advantage of the economics of scale. Right? This is one important particular word we are using everywhere in every industry. Economics of scale. Economics of scale is like this, right? When I'm doing something in the mass scale, it reduces the unit cost. But if you're producing something in the mass scale, maybe millions, thousand, it will reduce the unit production cost. Right? Same thing applying the transportation arrangement. If you are consolidate each and every shipments into one particular transportation modes and we are doing the transportation, it will reduce the unit transportation cost. You feel that when you are receiving the couriers, sometimes when you order something, transportation cost is zero. Have you experienced that? Zero. It's free sometimes, some instances. Sometimes very cheap. Have you experienced that? Anyone experienced that?
Yes, sometime they are delivering free of cost.
Yes, that's the advantage of using the third party outsourcing. They are very cheap than doing internally, right? Let's assume if you need to manage this in the internally, you have to buy aircraft or charter an aircraft or hire a ship. So how you can do that? It's very expensive. That's why these companies are there, right? It's very easy and cost effective, right? So every time logistics outsourcing is cost effective. But I asked that question, that procurement part, why they didn't outsource, why they are not trying to outsource, because procurement is the core of your company, organization. It's a core. Because you are dealing with your supplier, that it's the initial part of the supply chain. It's the initial part of the supply chain, origin of the supply chain. If you're not acquire the quality raw materials, you cannot have a best product, right? Maybe you, in your procurement, you have a secret, right? You have a relationship with your suppliers. That relationships matters every time, every single time it matters to get the quality raw materials. The third party cannot do that on behalf of you, because third party companies, they provide service to you, and also they may provide service to your competitor as well. So how they can secure your secrets? You cannot open your secrets to the third party. That's why most of the companies, they manage procurement part internally. It's a core competencies of your organization. It's such an important thing. Right? Transportation is not a problem. Warehousing is not a problem. Documentation, export, import is not a problem. Value addition is not a problem. It's common. What's core element, you are not keeping. Even the companies like Coca-Cola, right? So they manage it by themselves, right? Apple, themselves. Especially if we discuss with the Apple, what they are doing, they source raw material from the different areas. You know that in some raw materials, actually, they are using some kind of minerals for produce the chips and everything, even in the parts. Some parts, some raw materials from the Africa, some raw materials for the New Zealand, right? They only know about these sources, right? They don't, other companies, they don't know about exactly what are the sources they're sourcing these raw materials to produce it, right? After collecting, they are doing some kind of modification, and they are outsourced that mobile phone manufacturing part to the China. Only that part, right? But everything, the core activities, that chips and everything produced in the US. They do not outsource that part to the China. Only the mobile phone manufacturing in China. Apple, I'm saying Apple, right? And the chip and software part, they are doing in the US because they have to protect that part. But keep in mind that outsourcing is everywhere, but they will not outsource these core competencies, core operations. You have to keep internally. That's the thing, right? It's very, very crucial strategy. That's how you can compete with each other. Right? Got it? You get some kind of idea. I just give some kind of brief introduction, right? Brief introduction with some kind of practical examples, how you apply these things, right? What is the difference between the supply chain management and logistics, right? So what are the areas you consider as under logistics and what we call as a supply chain management, right? If I'm telling about, if I describe about any particular type of product, right? Just have some kind of idea how you made this particular product, right? You got some kind of idea what I have discussed? Yes or no? Are you clear what I say? If you're not clear, please ask question, right?
Yes, sir, you're clear, sir.
Yes, okay. If someone is not clear, please stop and ask. Anyway, right? Okay, I'll show you just one example, right? Just one example and let's move on. Okay. This is a Boeing. This Boeing aircraft, right? Which country manufactures this Boeing aircraft? Which country owns this company? Boeing. Which country owns?
France.
It's Airbus, right? Airbus owned by the France and Boeing owned by the US. Right? Two companies, big competitors. Right? There are some aircraft manufacturing companies, but they are not much popular. But commercial aircraft manufacturing, Boeing and Airbus, they are well known for the Boeing aircraft, commercial aircraft manufacturing. You can see to manufacture this particular aircraft, whatever the aircraft they are manufacturing, right? You can see their supply chain. I will try to give some kind of brief idea about their supply chain. You know, in aircraft, there are multiple parts, right? You have to source from different regions. Aircraft, if you focus on the aircraft, you can imagine that how much it's complex. It's very complex, right? Wings are there in the fuselage, engines are there, seats, so many components, so many electronic components, parts, and it's an engineering marvel, right? Millions of parts are there. You can see from different sources they are procuring these components. Some are from the China, some from Canada, South Korea, Australia. These are their suppliers for different items, parts. England, Sweden, Japan, France, United States, Italy. Different components, they are sourcing from different areas. And even to manufacture this, they have to source raw materials first, right? Natural resources they need. Right? After collecting natural resources, they are manufacturing some particular parts and they have to assemble and they have to send to some particular area to the final assembly. Right? So it's very much complicated and you can see that it's global scale operation. It's like this. You have to connect each and everything, but final assembly will happen in the US, right? Japan, one particular item. After you manufacture that particular item, component, you have to transport to the US. One, you are manufacturing in Italy, maybe engine, then you have to transport to the US. Some parts you are manufacturing in maybe in some European country, another European country, or Korea, then you have to transport to the US. Right? You can see a complex supply chain. I can say it as a network and the involvement of the transportation activities. Right? In some areas, you have to store these components inside the warehouses, and you can see the involvement of the warehouses. And you can see you have to procure these raw materials and the components from different countries, the involvement of the procurement. And you can imagine that how much it's complex, right? Rather than focusing on the simple product, how much this is complex. Even the mobile phone, its complexity is too high because so many components are there inside the mobile phone. Different raw materials, different items, right? It's very complex. But apparel, I can say that not much complex like this. These are very, very complex supply chain with respect to supply chain, right? Right. That's, I just try to give some kind of brief idea to this area, and gradually we will move to learn about this transportation arrangement, what we call as a transportation, and how much it's important, and what are the infrastructures we use in the transportation arrangements. So this is very crucial because day by day we are using this transportation facility, and sometimes we don't have idea about what happens behind the screen, right? So many people working, so many professionals working in this particular area, even the different scale and different talented professionals working in the transportation area, but we don't have an idea about this particular area. So we need to have some kind of idea, because if you are learning in the procurement industry, so you have to get the support from the transportation. It's must, right? That's why I'm just going to teach about this particular area, right? So is it okay to give you a break at 8:30, right? In Sri Lankan time? Is it okay? How is it going?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah, 8:30 is better, right? Because it's not easy, you know? How many days you have a lecture? I'm asking for a week, how many days you have a lecture?
We
Only
have
two?
2 days.
Only two, no?
Yeah, we have 9 hours. Today we have 3 hours. Saturday we have 6 hours.
Saturday maybe a daytime you have, right? Because
Yeah,
of the...
from 2 to 5 and 6 to 9.
That's better. This is a 2-year, right? 2 MSc.
Yes.
Including the research, right? You have to do the research either.
Yes.
Great. Right, great. So with respect to the terminal, right? So what we call as a terminal, right? Terminal word is actually related to transportation arrangement. For transportation arrangement, we need to have a terminal, right? What we call as a terminal, the simple definition is any location, any facility where the freight and passenger either originate, terminate, or handle in the transportation process. This is a particular facility. At that particular facility, you can handle the freight. Freight means the cargo, or you can handle the passengers. So let's say it is like this. Possibly you are visiting this Peta railway station. I can say it's a terminal only for the passenger transportation, right? Sometimes they have some extent they have a cargo transportation part as well, but majority they handle the freight. And you are visiting Karunathilaka International Airport, Bandaranaike International Airport. It's a terminal, right? Arrival for the departures. They have 2 terminals are there, right? Basically, this is the facility to handle, established to handle freight or passengers, right? It can be a central location or intermediate location. It depends on the flow you are handling, right? But keep in mind that at the terminal, there should be a connectivity. You have to connect one from to the another, and it should be act as an interface. That means that as a transfer point of the passengers or freight, inbound and the outbound, and it should be considered as a buffer, because in buffer, what you are doing, you are handling some kind of capacity with respect to the passenger or with respect to the cargo, right? It's like a buffer. So it should be connectivity, there should be interface, and there should be a buffer, right? Simply, if you see this kind of facility, which facilitate for the passenger and the freight movements, we call it as a terminal, right? So here we will mainly focusing about the freight terminal, not the passenger terminal, right? Mainly we will focus on the freight terminal. What are the core operations of the freight terminal, cargo terminals? you have an infrastructure here. We will discuss about the different infrastructures available for different transportation modes. And you need to have equipments because you have to handle the cargo. So you need to have cranes, forklift, and whatever the things, right? And you need to have a storage facility to store those cargo, maybe warehouses or some kind of value addition centers. And you need to have management because administration task is there, and you have to do the maintenance and you have to manage with the information. So you need to have an information system. So you have to work with the management. So what are the ancillary operations we have to carry out or ancillary services you need to have? These are actually added value activities. In this kind of freight terminals, it's happening this trade activity. So you need to have a trade facilitation. That means possibly free trade zones or logistics service related facilities, right? So I think you have an idea about the free trade zones, right? How much it's important to the logistics or supply chain management. Right. Free trade zone, you can say that free trade zones are there in the Koggala and the Sitawaka. There are Karunathilaka free trade zones available, right? What are the importance of this free trade zone with respect to the logistics or supply chain management? Since we are discussing about the logistics and supply chain management, why free trade zones are important related to the supply chain management? Just be practical. Why seaports are important with respect to the supply chain management in a particular country?
So they are lower cost in supply chain. They
They are
lower
low,
the cost.
exactly, lower the cost. Let's assume free trade zone located in the Karunathilaka, right? What type of companies locate inside that particular free trade zone? What they are manufacturing? What sort of cargo they are manufacturing? Product.
Easy access to ports or airport.
Export companies, right?
Exactly, one particular thing, they are very accessible to these airports and ports facilities. If you locate the free trade zone, it should be right. You should facilitate for the trade, right? One facilitation is transportation arrangement. Exactly. The other thing is free trade zone. What are the benefits you are getting? Tax free, right? That's the thing, right? I explained you that it's about the outsourcing, right? Everyone needs time to outsource their operations to the other countries, in other countries. If you need to attract those business, we need to have a trade zones, free trade zones. That's why Bangladesh have a multiple free trade zones. Even the Sri Lanka, we have multiple free trade zones. India is massive. Pakistan, they have many free trade zones. That's how they attract the business, right? So these kind of facilities you need to facilitate this, right? If you have a freight terminal, very close to that, just establish a free trade zones. It will attract more business and it will increase the movements. And distribution center facilities you need to have, right? Right. It's like a warehouse, but you are doing the distribution activities to the consumers and other customers, and storage depot and the container services, maybe repair services and the washing services kind of thing. These are actually additional services you have to provide inside the terminal, right? You have a cooperation. That means you have to provide the facilities, and also you have to provide the ancillary facilities inside the freight terminal, right? We will go through one by one. What are the terminals available and how much it's important to the logistics activities, right? So how much it's important to the logistics activities. Since you are working in the different industries, you are consuming products, right? And always you are dealing with some particular type of product. One example I will share with you before moving to the break, right? One particular product, medicine, drugs. One student, I think, from that medical side, right? Is he there? Is it here? Is he available? One or two from medical sector, from health sector. I noticed one or two students. Yes. Yes, mean Situ, you are right? Situ Gamagi, right? You are from the medical sector, right? Am I correct?
No, sir. I am in manufacturing sector, switchboard manufacturing. Actually, we have a doctor.
Yeah,
Our batch, I don't know. He is available here.
maybe unavailable, right? So if he is there, maybe he can speak. Okay, anyway, so most important thing is once I just received a message as regarding the unavailability of that one particular, I think so one particular medicine used in the theaters, the operation theaters, right? So I just received a message from this medical sector. It's a government, right? So they what they did, they procure that particular medicine, drug. I don't know what is the name exactly, but I'm not much familiar with these words, right? So what they informed to the port, right? So this particular drug is coming on board of this particular ship, and it's already out of stock, and there are theaters. If it's continue for few days, so they have to stop the operations entirely, right? So what they ask from us, what they have request from us, unload the cargo, right, in efficient way with the minimum delay, and deliver that to the what I call hospitals. That is the requirement, right? So in that kind of arrangement, we have to do through the port terminal, right? Because majority of cargo, I can say 85% of the cargo movement handled through the port terminals. It's very crucial. Of course, there are terminals like air cargo terminals are there. I will explain one by one, handled by the different transportation modes, but particularly it's all about the ports and the shipping lines handle majority of cargo all around the world, more than 85%. If you order something, 85% it's through the ship and through port. You have to handle that particular cargo. Such an important terminal. And we will continue our discussion about this terminal actually after the break. It's now time is 8:32. Let's meet at sharp 9, right? Sharp 9. Just log again, and we'll continue the discussion until 10, right? Have a break. Right, shall we start? You are here.
Okay, sir.
Great. Right. We just start the conversation on this port terminals. What is the importance of the port terminals? And I describe why this is important, because majority of cargo, 85%, more than 85% cargo transportation, it's through the shipping and the port terminals, right? First, I'll discuss what are the available transportation modes, right? Basically, it's shipping is one particular mode because you have to use the ships to transport the cargo. So that is shipping, right? There's a air transportation, right? Another most important transportation, but air transportation majority mainly we use for the passenger transportation, right? So there are cargo transportation part as well, but air transportation most popular for the passenger transportation. And rail transportation we have for both passenger transportation and the cargo transportation. And the road transportation we have, right? You can see passenger transportation we are using the road, and also for transport the cargo, yeah, right? Mostly in Sri Lanka, you can see the containers we are transportation in the road transportation, right? It's very common, right? These are the main transportation modes available, but other than that, there are some type of transportation mode much more popular in the Sri Lanka. Canal transportation are there, right? Through the canal, they can transport the cargo by using, that some kind of barge systems, right? Barges are there to transport the cargo in the canal, especially very much popular in the Europe. And the pipeline transportation, of course, in Sri Lanka, pipeline transportation we are using for the water, right? Basically, and also for the crude oil we transport from the port to Sapagaskand area by using the pipe pipeline. That also considered as a transportation part. But pipeline, keep in mind that in the Middle East, some of your students are in the Middle East, they know that how they are using the pipeline to transport crude oil, right? It's far away, right? 1,000 miles, right? So they are using the transport, they are used for transport the crude oil, right? Port terminals, right? So we can consider as it's a multifunctional entity, right? So why you use the port terminal, right? To handle cargo, right? So basically, like raw materials or finished product, whatever the cargo you are handling, you have to go through the port terminals, right? That's why this is very important. If we consider about the cargo type here, in the port terminals, we handle general cargo. That means the normal type of cargo. And also we have a bulk type of cargo, right? General cargo, that means unitized cargo. And the bulk cargo means the loose cargo, right? What comes under general cargo? It's actually the cargo inside the bags, cargo inside the containers, we consider as a general cargo, right? And what we consider the bulk cargo, for an example, liquid cargo. If you need to transport petroleum, for an example, Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, CPETCO, if they need to import petroleum from Saudi Arabia or somewhere, right? So what they are doing, they have to import in the bulk form, right? So we call it as a liquid bulk. So those are not inside the container, bulk in very big ships, specialized ships they have to use for transport this liquid bulk cargo, right? And dry bulk cargo, for an example, if you need to import coal, iron ore, right? Grains kind of things, or sand like materials, even the fertilizers. So you have to import in the bulk form, right? So those cargo we call as a bulk cargo. So this type of cargo also handled inside the port. Another one is a passenger, but we are not touching that passenger part, right? This is the example of the port, and I can say that, right, this port is specialized in handling containerized cargo, right? So this question with respect to the transportation, right? So you saw many containers are there, right? On trucks, you can see the containers. On ships, you can see the containers. What is the advantage of using these containers for the transportation? Why we have to use container? What is the advantage of using these containers in the transportation? What is the basic advantage? That's why container transportation is very much popular in this logistics industry. So what is the reason? Why containers are very important?
Easy
Space
delivery.
optimization.
space and
space optimization is there and easy to handle, as I said, initiate, right? What is the most important?
Safe.
Yeah, exactly. Safeness is there. I can consider that part as well. Very good. What is the most important advantage? Most important advantage.
Easy to handle.
Easy to handle between what?
Between movement of goods from one point to the other.
One point to other in different transportation.
Yes. You could like from the ship, it's easy to move from the ship to the vehicle or the truck, and then from the truck, it's easy to move to the warehouse, and from there, once you unload it, it's easy.
Yes, very, very good, right? Easy to handle in the multiple transportation modes. Either it's in the ship, either it's on the truck, either it's on the train, or it's in the barge. You can transport the containers, right? It compatible with each and every transportation mode. It's a standard size is there, right? Standard size is there. That's why it's fit with the different transportation mode. Even that particular vehicles designs based on those dimensions. That's the important thing. Even the ship design, train designs, freight trains, I'm saying, right? Not the passenger trains. And all the trains designs based on this requirement, the size of the containers. That much it's important, right? So you can see here, this is actually map of the container terminal, actual container terminal. You can see here, these are ships, right? So we call the ships are at berth, right? This is berthing, not parking, berth. The word is berthing, right? Ships at berth, you can see it's berth. How many ships you can see? 1, 2, right? And you can see the rail transportation modes available, which connects with this port. The rail transportation part is connect with this port. And truck transportation also, there are trucks also inside this particular port. And barges. Have you familiar with these barges? Anyone know about barges? What we call as a barge? In Sri Lanka, are we using the barge?
it is a ship designed for mostly that bringing that bulk material that kind of sometime it is used in one port while we are transporting that aggregate materials. They are using that barge.
Exactly,
barges.
correct. So most probably for bulk transportation, they are using this barge, right? I show you this. You can see these pictures, right? I'm showing to you. And also, actually, these are through the rivers, most probably in the rivers, right? But in Sri Lanka, the rivers, we cannot use this barge because our rivers are not, that much calm, right? But some extent, Kalani River, actually, in the ancient age, they used the barge for the transportation, but now not practicing, but very small scale, some particular cargo transport, but not much. But this practice is common in Europe, mostly in the European country. You can see even in Europe, these pictures are from Europe, right? You can see they transport containers using this barge through the canal, right? From one country to other country, the canal systems are there. They are connecting each countries, right? So it's very easy to use these barges if you need to transport cargo from one country to other country, even for the bulk form, even as a containers, right? So you can use a barge, right? That's why you can see the barge, and even you can see the canals is going towards this land area, right? When you unload the containers from the ship, either you can transport by using rail transportation mode or trucks or barge to the land area, to the country, towards the country, right? On the other hand, when I'm bringing export from the country, because export, the manufacturing locations, manufacturing factories located somewhere in the country, maybe thousands of kilometers away from this particular container port. This is a port, right? You have to bring those containers or cargo to the port by using barge or trucks or rail and load on the ship to transport to the different country. That's how this arrangement is going on, right? So inbound arrangement is there and the outbound arrangement is there. Two-way arrangement is there, right? So that's how ports are working. But frequently ports working with shipping lines together. There's a mutual understanding between this port and shipping. Both parties should work together because these people are facilitating for the logistics, right? Especially with respect to the transportation arrangements, number one. And also you can see containers are storing inside this terminal, right? What we call it as a terminal. This is the container terminal, right? Containers are stacking in this terminal so that it act as a warehousing part. So I told you under logistics, transportation is there and also warehousing is there. That means this container terminal, now you know the word terminal, right? Facilitating for the logistics operations through transportation and warehousing. Both are there. Can you see this white color tanks? What is the purpose of these tanks? Why they use these tanks? So white color tanks are there, right? So why for what is the purpose of using these tanks?
So these are oil tanks to fill the ships?
It's not only for the oil tanks, absolutely right. It's oil tanks, but not only for the ships, but if they import, I told you about this cargo, right? The bulk cargo, liquid bulk, petroleum, or chemicals or something, or vegetable oil or something. Sometimes you are importing to use, right? If you import, you can store this oil inside these tanks until delivery to the importer, right? That's the purpose. You can imagine that in Trincomalee, right? Trincomalee, we have tanks. I think everyone know about that fact, right? Trincomalee, we have a tank farm. You know about that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it has some kind of problems with that, right? Even some issues are there, right? You know, talk about those things, but why they have the tanks? To store this petroleum, right? Ships are coming to the yes, Dinesh, yes.
Yeah, why in our country actually rail transportation they are using mostly that bulk transport oil, but however we don't we are not seen about that container transportation via rail. So any reasons?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is that Colombo port is most popular for handling the transshipment cargo, right? Transshipment cargo means, let's say, cargo coming from one ship, unloading at the port of Colombo. We are just connecting to the other terminal, other ship. That means the transfer, right? 85% cargo via the port of Colombo like a transfers. You know, airport what happens, right? If you need to fly to the somewhere in the Europe, you have to transfer to Qatar or Dubai. The same operation happens in the Colombo with respect to cargo, right? We are very much popular regarding this handling the transshipment cargo because our domestic cargo flow, that means import and export cargo is just for 10 to 15%, right? You need to have a rail transportation. Rail transportation is most probable if you have a big land area with heavy traffic of export and import cargo, right? In that case, you can use the rail transportation. It's very, very good, right? To transport the containers to the port and from the out of the from port, right? But exactly even to handle that particular part, because sometimes we feel congestion inside the port because of this export and import containers because of some custom issues and kind of things, right? To solve that issue, we had some kind of proposal to implement some kind of inland facility somewhere in the Paliagudo somewhere and connect that particular facility with the port of Colombo. Then you can unload the import container at the port of Colombo and transport those to that particular location, particular terminal by using the rail track, but short distance, right? Not long distance. Short distance, maybe 20 kilometers or 25 kilometers to that particular facility. And even when you're exporting something, you can bring your containers to that particular facility. And from there, we are transporting the facility to the port of Colombo by using the rail transportation. We have some kind of pilot service and pilot infrastructure to handle that, but it will not continue. But in such cases, we can use, but rail transportation, I think, is not much suitable for Sri Lanka for transport these countries because we are actually island. We are not having with very big land area, right? That's why we are not much popular in using the rail transportation. But why we are using the trucking? Truck is most flexible, no, and suitable for islands like us, right? But India, Europe, rail transportation is must because long distance transportation is there, right? 10,000, 15,000 kilometers or miles. That's why it's no problem. And Petroleum Corporation, they are using that because they have to do the whole island distribution, right? That's why rather than using Bowsers, it's cost effective to transport by using the trains. You know that how many tanks they can bring by using the one train, right? If they use Bowsers, maybe 20 to 25 Bowsers they have to use to transport that. It's costly. That's why they are using this train transportation for the petroleum. You got some kind of answer?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, right. So it depends. It depends on the country. But some ports like Colombo seaport and the Singapore, right? So they are not much using this rail transportation because we are island. It's more than enough to have a trucks fleet to handle this particular domestic flow, export and import. But 85% is transshipment, transfer cargo. From Bangladesh to Colombo, then loading to the New York, Europe, likewise. India to Colombo, then you load to the Europe, US again, and to the Middle East or transfer point. Right. So anyway, I have a very small video on this seaport, and let's watch this video, and after that we can continue. Yes. This is actually, you can see they handle the containers, right? This is a container terminal, right? So now you know what we call as a terminal, right? It's a some kind of facility to facilitate for the cargo passenger movement, right? Here it's a containerized cargo. You can see ships are, right? Why they call to this kind of terminal? They have to unload the cargo and they have to load the cargo. And that's why they are called into the terminal. Same like aircraft, right? To disembark the passengers and embark the passengers. The same operation happening here. And after completion of this operation, they will move to another next port and they will do the same kind of operation, right? So that's how they are distributing this cargo, right? So this is actually kind of a network, right? So you have to connect the cargo and go to another port, unloading cargo, and you again connect the cargo, load the cargo, go to next port. It's like a distribution network is there. It's kind of complicated transportation arrangement. So very carefully you have to do this arrangement and cost-effective way, and timely you have to deliver the cargo. You can see in one particular ships how many containers are there, right? Sometimes it's more than 20,000 containers in one big ship, right? They can carry 20,000 containers, right? You know the size of the container. 20,000 means most probably owned by 20,000 exporters or 20,000 importers, right? That's how they are doing the business. So on behalf of you, they are handling the cargo, right? Inside this ship, you can see that apparel, tea, machineries or medical, sometimes fruits, meat, every kind of cargo are there, right? That's how they are doing their business. Even especially this is actually beginning of this winter season, right? In the Europe and other countries. What they are doing here, before commence this winter season, shipping lines are very busy. Even the ports are very busy because all the cargo manufacturer in China, Thailand, Vietnam, or Malaysia, in these countries, they are manufacturing these food items, even the winter clothes kind of things and other consumable items, they are manufacturing in those countries. And before commence the winter, they have to transport those to the Europe and US. Before commence winter, right? They have to transport those cargo. On time they have to transport. So they were very busy in past few months. I really experienced that, very busy. Even the ports are very busy. Right? Because you cannot imagine to how many countries and the population they have to serve, some millions, right? So how many containers they have to transport. That's how they are doing the arrangement, right? Okay. Right. So this is that video is about the container terminal. You saw the containers, right? Right. Most probably containers we are using to transport the finished cargo, right? And this is something about the bulk cargo terminal. I told you there are type of cargo we call it as a bulk, right? That means it's not unitized in the bulk form, right? This is actually coal. You can see in the black color, this is coal. Mostly you are using the coal in the power plants and do some kind of manufacturing activity, especially those in the power plants, right? This is how they store the coals. And there are specially designed ships to transport coals, right? For an example, we are importing coal from India mostly, right? As you know, we are importing coal from India by using specially designed ships, right? This is about the liquid cargo terminal. You can see this type of liquid cargo terminal mostly in the Middle East countries, even like Qatar, Saudi Arabia. You can see a lot of ports are like this, right? Those are equipped with this tank systems because you had to use the tanks to store the ships. And these are the ships. You can see there are actually 4 ships available here, 4 to 5 ships. They are loading this petroleum from these tanks, actually using the pipelines, right? After loading, they will go to the destination and unload the cargo. Even Colombo, we are receiving these type of ships actually operated by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and IOC, right? They are bringing petroleum to the Sri Lanka and unloading and transporting to the relevant, what I call that's terminals. Terminals mean we have some kind of terminals in the Sapugaskanda and even some particular areas, right? It's like that. And this is a specific one we call as a grain, right? This is, you can see these are actually we call as a silos, right? These are silos. And why we use these silos? Mostly to store grain, right? Sometimes we use this silo to store cargo like cement, right? For an example, in the port of Colombo, you can see these silos actually operate by one silo complex is operated by the Prima, and there are other silos operated by some kind of cement companies like Tokyo Super, INSI, right? They own these silos because from this silo they unload, they can unload the cargo to this silo, that's like cement or wheat or something from ship, right? Same way they can load this cargo to the ship. 2 way they can do that. And you can see that these are conveyors, right? These are conveyor belts, right? Through these conveyor belts, they are loading and unloading the cargo from the ship. That's how this arrangement is happening, right? So are there any different type of terminal, you know? I will show you port of
Hazard
Hambantota.
one?
Yeah.
Hazard one, hazard items.
Yeah, exactly. Hazard items mean dangerous cargo, right? Chemicals. We are handling chemicals most probably, but it's similar to the petroleum. Some chemicals are in the liquid form, and there are specially designed ships to handle the chemicals as well in liquid form, right? It's very, very critical because it can cause some kind of explosion. That's why we are very curious about handling the chemicals. We see very safely we had to handle, right? This is a picture of the port of Hambantota, right? You can see specially designed ships. Again, I think I'll show you the ship even, right? This one, this photo is very good. Let's see. Yeah. You can see these are some image of the port of Hambantota, right? So what are these cargo you can see here? What are these? You can see some kind of these vehicles, right? It's vehicle. Because vehicles are actually also used transport by using the ships, right? Actually, these ships are specially designed for transport ships. We call it as a Ro-Ro, right? Ro-Ro ships, right? You can see the design is completely different. It's like a car park inside, and you load the cargo, car or automobiles to this particular ship, and you transport to the destination and you unload this cargo. You can see how you operate these ships, right? Inside this ship, you can see it's like a car park, right? Similar to the car park, multi-store car park. Right? So even most of the companies, they use these ships to transport their cargo, and also now it's very much popular, this BYD, right? BYD. This is the BYD's arrangement. Which country owns the BYD?
China.
It's Chinese, right? So you can see how much they're strong in this business. I told you that most of the companies, right? Actually, BYD, they manufacture cars, right? They manufacture cars and some particular electronic items and kind of thing. But let's say Toyota, they're manufacturing cars, and what they try to do, they outsource the transportation part to the shipping lines. They outsource transportation part to the shipping lines. I discussed that part also, right? I told you in initial stage, logistics activities, they are outsourced into the third-party companies, right? But you see this BYD, they have their own ships to transport their automobiles. That's how they manage the logistics activities. They are doing the manufacturing part, and also they have ships to transport those cargo to the Europe or US or wherever. Right? You can see how much they are it's very much powerful, right? It's very powerful. Right? I think no other company have ships like this to transport their own cargo, own automobiles. Even Toyota, they don't have. They are not using. Right? No single company. Even Tesla, they don't have. Right? They are using the shipping lines to transport their automobiles. But BYD, they have. That's how they are doing their business. Right? So, and if I just go through the traffic, you can see this map. Even you can log into the website and you can see this is actually a current situation of the shipping, right? Current situation of the shipping market. You can see these dots are actually ships. This is a satellite image of current the trade pattern, right? The movement of the ships, right? You can imagine that how many ships are moving around the world. It's everywhere, right? Because they are in the transportation business, so they have to connect these supply chains, one partner to other partner. That's why they are moving here and there, right? So one country to other country, one port to other port, right? Right? You can even you see how many ships, right? You can even believe that. And this situation in the Colombo, right? This is a Colombo port. Right? You can see in the if I zoom in the Colombo port, you can see these are the containers, right? Right. So we got it as a container terminal. Even Colombo, we have right? It's a very big one, right? And if I zoom into the another much popular ports in the world, somewhere here you can see, sorry. This is Singapore. This is Singapore port. It's very big, right? Compared to Colombo, it's very big. This is Singapore port. You can see how many ships are there to transport the cargo and unload the cargo, load the cargo, right? So many ships are there, right? Right. So they are moving cargo, right? It's all about the cargo. Even here you can see the Middle East situation in the Middle East, right? Kuwait and the Qatar and this area, this is the Gulf of Oman and the Jebel Ali, right? So you can see the huge traffic inside this particular area, inside this region. Can someone say that what type of ships are there? I mean, most commonly, what type of cargo they are transporting from this region to other regions? What sort of cargo? In this area?
Oil and food items. Oil.
Yeah, exactly. Oil, mainly oil. Mainly oil, and then to the country, it's actually food items and other consumable items. But from this area, it's mainly oil, right? So you can see these ships are, if I show you, yes. If I click on one ship, you can just click on one ship, right? If you click on one ship, you can see the information on that particular ship, right? Yes, this one. This is that ship. It's very big ship. You can see this ship is used for transport crude oil, petroleum. Right? This ship type is used for transport petroleum. This is just a one ship, right? You can see how many ships are there. It's multiple. Right? In Gulf region. And as I remember, because of this conflict, if you remember, someone remember this, because of this conflict, these countries, they are about to close this area from this point, right? They were about to close, and because of this conflict were there, no? Some conflict were there. Can you imagine that if they close from this point, this route, the ships cannot go towards this, to this region and load the petroleum and everything. So it will completely disrupt the petroleum distribution around the world, right? If something happens like this, right? It's such important with respect to transportation, right? So, and this one also I need to explain with respect to transportation, the shipping part. You can see this one, and shipping route is here. From China, you're loading the cargo and coming here to Singapore and goes through the Colombo and then goes through this area, right? This area, can you see my cursor? Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Yeah, from this area we called as a Suez Canal. Has anyone heard about Suez Canal? Suez?
Yes, it is crossing that mountain area that they have some mechanism to transport that ships.
Yes, Suez Canal, right? Exactly. Suez Canal is via the Egypt, right? Which connects Asia and Europe, right? We call it as a Suez. It's actually canal, right? So from here to here, you can transport actually ships, right? Ships are moving from here to here through the Suez Canal. This is the Suez Canal, right? If you are not using Suez Canal, if you need to transport cargo to the Europe from China, you have to all the way coming from here and go like this. It's through the Cape of Good Hope, South Africa, and all the way around, right? It's a round trip. But in Suez Canal, it's like a shortcut. You can reduce the transportation time in 2 weeks, right? If you use the Suez Canal, it's a shortcut. So one of the most important infrastructure with respect to the international transportation, this one, right? So Even you can see here the America, right? How many ships are going to America and from America, right? Going to America with finished product and coming back. Even to the Europe, finished product and then coming back, right? And the flow towards the Europe and America, it's about the finished product, finished goods. And from this region to China again coming back with empty containers and with raw materials. Because this region is so powerful in manufacturing. Korea, Japan, China, Vietnam, Taiwan, they are doing the manufacturing. And these regions are actually about the consumption. They are consuming. Of course, they are manufacturing some particular specific products, not all the products, right? Any question in the chat? Yes. So, so this is the current state of air traffic about, yeah, exactly. Correct. Yes. Thanks. The air traffic also, you can check that, right? For air traffic also, you can just have a live map. You can track aircraft. Same way. It's all about the passenger transportation. Right? So this is how things happening with related to the shipping, right? It's very interesting, right? Right. If you one thing, if you need to track your shipment, you can simply log into the website of the shipping line and put your cargo, what I call that container number or something, and you can track where is your shipment, where is that particular ship. And if you need to track a ship, you just Google ship's name. I just type one particular name, right? And if you just, you can track where is it, right? I put one name of the particular ship. You can see ship currently is in this location. It will automatically give the location, the satellite image, right? Because in transportation, most important thing is you have to track your cargo. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because since you are doing some kind of procurement activity, you are procuring something from your suppliers and you have to check that where is my cargo now? Where is my cargo now? Because you are procuring something for the production, or else to deliver the product to the market. So on-time delivery is very crucial. Then you have to track that where is your cargo. It's very important. Tracking is critical related to transportation, right? Right. That's about the shipping part, right? What happens in the shipping? You are dealing with the ships and you are dealing with the ports, right? So you are dealing with the port terminal here. The most important one is port terminal, right? This is about the air cargo terminal. This is mainly for handle the air cargo, because I told you that sometimes you are using the aircraft to transport cargo, right? How you handle that? Through the air cargo terminal, right? What sort of cargo you are using the aircraft, especially for the perishable type cargo and also high value cargo. The reason is, if you use the air cargo facilities for every type of cargo, even in the large quantities, it will be very expensive than shipping, because shipping mode is very, very cost effective than other transportation modes. Right. So sometimes if you use the air transportation for transport some particular cargo, it will be 3 to 4 times expensive than sea transportation. It's very expensive. Right. That's why shipping mode is very, very popular in cargo transportation. Right. But if you need to transport high value cargo, sometimes some medical items, urgent shipments, right? Even like courier, some perishable cargo, sometimes they are using these to transport the fish kind of things, perishable items, perishable foods. They are using air transportation, right? So what happens here, if when you're using the air transportation, you have to use the terminal. Again, I told you about the terminal, right? They have to use the terminal. That means airport. That particular airport not designed for the passenger transportation, but designed for the cargo transportation. Because already we know airports are there for transport the passengers, right? We know that the facilities available inside those warehouses for facilitate the passengers, but if you are facilitating for the cargo transportation part, you have to use the cargo transportation related airport to facilitate cargo movements from and to airport, right? And here you can see one particular design, sorry, map. This is about, this is somewhere in the US, right? Operated by Amazon. You know about Amazon, right? Everyone know about Amazon.
Yes, e-commerce platform.
It's an e-commerce platform. You can see here, this one. You can simply log into the Amazon and you can buy anything. Any type of products available, right? You can simply log in and you can online order. Everyone know some of you can order from here. But why they use this airport? Why they handle it? Why they operate airport for the cargo handling? Why they operate airport? Amazon? Maybe you don't even know about that, right? You know that Amazon is an e-commerce platform. You can buy anything from Amazon, but you don't know about they are operating airport, cargo airport. What is the reason? Because they have to make the deliveries, right? They have to arrange deliveries. When you order something, let's say that you are logging into the system, this website, and you simply click on some particular item, right? Maybe this item, right? And you are ordering that particular item to that, right? When you make an order, they have to deliver that particular product to you. For that, they have to use that transportation, right? That particular supplier supply that particular product to your Amazon warehouse, and from that they have to do the delivery to you. Maybe someone in the China, someone in the Sri Lanka, someone in the Australia, they have to deliver that. How they are doing that? Mainly through these small shipments, no? The courier shipment for the small boxes, they are transporting using the aircraft. But if you need to transport bulk cargo, high volume, you can use the ships because it's cost effective. For small shipments, and if you need a fast deliveries, you can use the air transportation. It's very effective, right? And this is one particular facility of the Amazon. You can see it's similar to the aircraft, but most particularly, there should be warehousing facility to stock cargo, right? And of course, they have an aircraft fleet as well, right? This is another one of the very good example from UPS. Anyone know about UPS? United Parcel Service. This is one of the very much popular and leading company. Anyone know about this? Maybe you saw this. Let's see. Yes. Anyone show this? Anyone know about this logo? UPS? No. They have some operations in Sri Lanka as well, right? You can see some kind of small vans operated by this UPS, but not in large scale, but this is very big company. It's a very big company, right? US company. So what they are doing, this is actually their own airport. Can you imagine that they have their own airports, right? Maybe a couple of airports in the world, they own and operate. And they have their own aircraft, maybe more than 200 aircraft. It's larger than airlines, other passenger transportation airlines, right? Maybe more than 200, 300 aircraft they operate. Only for transport the cargo, your parcels, right? This is one of the very good facility. And when you're designing an air cargo terminal, of course, you need to have that warehousing facility, and you need to have equipment to load that cargo from and to the aircraft, and you need to have a manpower, right? With respect to the warehouses, keep in mind that especially in air cargo terminals, we handle perishable type of cargo and high value cargo. So you need to have a refrigerated facility inside that particular terminal, and also you need to have some kind of protection there because you are handling the high value cargo on behalf of your customers, right? This is very crucial, right? And most importantly, this video is again very important, right? This is this video is about the actually one of the leading air cargo terminal in the world, right? One of the leading air cargo terminal. This is not a passenger airport. right? This is not a passenger airport. Keep in mind that they are not handling passengers here, right? You heard about the meeting of these Vladimir Putin and the Donald Trump. Putin and Donald Trump, where they met. They have a meeting.
Yeah, Malaysia.
Not Malaysia actually. Maybe later they met Malaysia, but at the initial stage, this meeting, this one, the first one, where they met. Anyone has an idea? It was very, very big news, no? It was a very big news in each and every countries in the world. Actually, it happens in the Alaska. Where is Alaska? It happens in the Alaska, right? Where is Alaska located geographically? Because when we discuss about the transportation and logistics, geography is very important. I'm saying that not to go through each and every detail, but you need to have some kind of idea about the geography of the world to learn about the logistics and transportation. Where is Alaska? Anyone know about Alaska? Where is it located? Alaska कोई थी?
In the Canada.
Yes.
Upper part of the Canada.
Upper part of the North America. Right. This is about the airport located in Alaska. Right. They met in Alaska. The capital of the Alaska, it called as the Anchorage. Right. The Putin and Donald Trump, they met in Alaska. Anchorage. The city is Anchorage. Right. This video is about the Anchorage airport. I can say that this is a world 4th largest air cargo terminal. 4th largest. Right. Number 1 is Hong Kong. Right, Hong Kong is number 1 airport, handle the cargo, right? I'm saying the volume wise, it's number 1, it's massive, right? This is about the Anchorage. Just watch this video, and after that you can get some kind of idea what happens inside the cargo terminal. I mean, air cargo terminal, right?
Anchorage is the biggest city in Alaska, but compared to other American cities, it is quite small, with a population of just 290,000 people. The weather here in winter is extreme, with temperatures down to minus 10 degrees Celsius. But surprisingly, even with such a minor population and heavy winter, Anchorage has the world's 3rd busiest airport in terms of cargo, surpassing massive cities like Shanghai and Seoul. In America, it is the 2nd biggest cargo hub, only surpassed by Memphis, which is number 1, just because it's FedEx's biggest hub and their headquarters. Now, Anchorage is not a big exporter of anything except bulk natural resources like oil and minerals that are shipped out on ships. What it does export in great volume is fish fillets and frozen seafood, but that isn't nearly enough to get Anchorage at the position it is right now. Also, Anchorage is not a big importer of anything, which can't be shipped by ships too. So the big question is why Anchorage Airport is so busy with cargo traffic, even though it isn't a great producer or consumer of anything. Well, you see, Anchorage might lack in population or a major in-city production, and also it might have extreme weather conditions too, which are exactly all the things a cargo hub doesn't usually have. But one massive advantage it does have, which no other city in the world has in common, is the location. Anchorage might be on the corner of America, but it isn't corner of the world. Actually, it is the center of the world. Anchorage is less than 10 hours by air to 95% of major global markets. Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Tokyo are all massive transportation hubs, and Anchorage is the location between all these cities and North America, which means all the planes coming from Asia has the same place to take a stop. You see, Anchorage might be the 3rd biggest cargo hub, but cargo planes that arrive here are not actually coming here, but rather just taking a stop. And since Asia is the producer of a lot of things that Americans demand, there's a hefty amount of Boeing 747s and 767s that take a stop here every day. In fact, 80% of all cargo flights that operate across the Pacific make a technical stop at Anchorage. This stop would be to refuel, change crews, and in some cases to transfer cargo to other planes. It is why major integrator airlines like FedEx, UPS, and DHL all have a significant presence at the airport in support of their growing international cargo operations. But why would planes take a stop when they can just go direct to the city they wish? Well, the primary advantage for cargo carriers to make a stop at Anchorage is that they can maximize their payload to fuel ratio. In other words, by being able to carry more cargo and less fuel, they can operate with more efficiency and greater profitability. A carrier can carry an additional 100,000 pounds of revenue cargo by making a fuel stop in Anchorage. It's a simple but powerful incentive to make use of the Anchorage stopover. And in bonus, Anchorage is right on the route to North America, so planes don't have to lose any fuel. However, if an aircraft decides to go direct, then it would carry less cargo and more fuel, and the only thing that they would be saving here would be an hour which they didn't have to spend at ANC. The Anchorage airport is the best option for the whole of Asia, and it didn't take much time for the government of Alaska to realize that back in 2004, when they permitted air cargo to or from a foreign country to be transferred to another airline in Alaska. Unlike airports elsewhere in the US, foreign carriers can legally transfer cargo between jets at the Anchorage airport. These expanded cargo transfer rights make Anchorage extremely flexible for cargo airlines, which can make use of time on the ground refueling to also carry out transfers between their own planes and those of other carriers. Anchorage is one of the few airports in the world with this facility and is the only one in America. These transfer rights include online transfers between a carrier's own aircraft, interline transfers between one carrier and another carrier, and change of gauge, which is transfers from a wide-bodied freighter aircraft to one or more smaller aircraft flying to potentially multiple destinations from Anchorage. These operations at the airport need a lot of people to support, and that is why it is estimated that 1 in 10 jobs in the Anchorage area is a result of business activity generated at the airport. It might be directly or indirectly linked, like a manufacturer or a shipment local packaging company. In recent years, these jobs are growing even more as the Anchorage airport is showing tremendous growth in cargo shipments. The growth here is directly linked to the ongoing expansion of trade between China and America. China has a massive contribution in global e-commerce, and hence millions of packages shipped by Amazon and eBay get transported to America and go through here. The airport is booming with growth in the past 2 years. The online products that people purchase are mostly made in China, and since 80% of cargo planes have a stop in Anchorage, it means that 80% of the products that are coming from China have also been to Anchorage as well. In fact, there's a very good chance that the phone that you are holding in your hand has been through Anchorage. The rise of Amazon has certainly increased the airport's aircraft number. In fact, on a typical day, you could easily see 5 to 6 B747 freighters heading to Amazon's base in Cincinnati, with other 777s heading to other locations throughout America. But despite that growth, the airport lacks the services of its competitors. It's largely a fuel stop and crew change site for the jumbo jets headed to other airports. If plane technology were to be a little more advanced and they had better fuel efficiency, then no airline would take a stop at Anchorage, and the airport would basically be empty with just a few domestic flights. Although other cargo hubs at the same time would have no problems because they are basically originating the cargo. Anchorage wants to change that and make sure that planes never stop coming here. They're planning to build a warehouse with refrigerated storage facilities. With this, more fresh salmon could be shipped to restaurants in the lower 48, and it might also heighten demand for Alaska peonies, which is the only place in the world where the popular flower is available. Apart from the cold storage, a 500,000 square foot cargo transfer facility is also proposed to enable faster cargo transfer between aircraft. If the new facility is built, foreign jets can still transfer products without having to worry about making sure the other jet has arrived. And they can do it more efficiently at more convenient times. Long term, the airport should see continued gains in cargo because of the strong demand in the US for products from Asian countries. although it still would be hard for Anchorage to change from a stopover. This is because Alaska doesn't have much cargo originating in Alaska, and what they do have doesn't get transported by planes. So the main motive for Anchorage for the next years will be to give cargo planes a reason to stop beyond fuel and crew changes. Right now, Anchorage is a growing hub with huge opportunities. It will remain a valuable transportation infrastructure asset that continues to pay dividends for Anchorage and the rest of the state. The airport's growth will ensure the growth of businesses that are connected to the airport and will keep Anchorage and Alaska important players in the world of global transportation.
You saw the arrangement, right? So what kind of operation they are doing, right? They are connecting the cargo from different regions, and distribution operation is happening there. For an example, they say that from Alaska, geographically, it's very close to the Japan, very close to the Shanghai, that means China, right? So what they are doing, they are inbound cargo is from China, Japan, and that particular region, and they are distributing cargo to the US, especially to the US, because Amazon, they are using this as a hub to distribute their cargo. That's how they are doing the arrangement. So geographically, it's very important, because you can see Alaska is somewhere here in another part, right? If I just go through just 1 minute, right? So, right, so you can see this area. This is the map of Alaska, somewhere here, right? This area, right? It's very close to this China, right? This is China, this area. It's very close to China geographically, and Japan, even to the Russia, right? They are bringing cargo here, inbound cargo, and distributing cargo to the Canada, US, and these areas. So you can see the location of geographical location of Alaska is at the centralized location. We call that particular location as a hub, the hub location with respect to the transportation arrangement, right? So hubs are very, very crucial. Even Colombo is a hub, Singapore is a hub, the centralized location for the distribution arrangements, right? Even Sri Lanka, we can say the PETA is a hub for distribution, passenger transportation, right? So this is very crucial. So for that geographical location, they are getting the advantages for this logistics and transportation arrangements. That's how the things are happening in the world, right? I'll stop here. The time is actually 10. So I'll stop here, and we will continue the session from my next lecture, right? So have a good night to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Right, sir.
Good night, sir. Thank you.